Time for convening having arrived. The Senate will come to order. Would ask unauthorized visitors to exit the chamber at this time. The Senate will come to order. Chair recognizes Senator from the 53rd.
Good morning, Mr. President. Here on the 36th legislative day, a beautiful day, the journal's been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator, for your good works on the journal. Is there objection dispensing with the reading of the journal? The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to confirmation of the journal? Chair is none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators having bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 256 by Senators Jackson II and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend an act.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 257 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 258 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 259 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 260 by Senators Thompson of the 33rd and others.
Slow go.
Senate Bill 261 by Senator Miller of the 40th. A bill
Regulated industries.
Senate Resolution 594 by Senators Loudermilk of the 14th and others. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide for limitations.
Rules Committee.
Senate Resolution 595 by Senators Orrick of the 36th and others.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Resolution 597 by Senators Hill of the
Rules
32nd.
Committee.
Senate Resolution 598 by Senators Hill of the 6th and
Rules
others.
Committee.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions.
House Bill 568 by Representative Reinders of the 152nd.
Slow go.
House Bill 571 by Representative Peake of the 141st.
Slow go.
House Bill 572 by Representative Hardin of the 148th.
Slow go.
House Bill 577 by Representative Hardin of the 148th.
Slow go.
House Bill 583 by Representatives Knight.
Slow go.
House Bill 584 by Representative.
Slow go.
House Bill 585 by Representative Jackson of the
Slow
128th.
go.
House Bill 586 by Representatives Black.
Slow go.
House Bill 587 by Representative Bentley of the
Slow
179th.
go.
House Bill 588 by Representative Parsons of the 44th and others.
Slow go.
House Bill 592 by Representative Nimmer of the 178th.
Slow go.
House Bill 597 by Representative Pruitt of the 149th.
Slow go.
House Bill 600 by Representatives Powell of the 171st.
Slow go.
House Bill 602 by Representative
State and
Shokas.
local governmental operations.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
Clerk will read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Appropriations Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 106 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hill of the 4th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Appropriations Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 454 do pass, that House Bill 45 do pass, that House Resolution 73 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hill of the 4th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Higher Education Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 372 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 324 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Cowsert of the 46th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 332 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Unterman of the 45th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 135 do pass, that House Bill 160 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 434 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 437 do pass, that House Bill 441 do pass, that House Bill 506 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator McCoon of the 29th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary and Non-Civil Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 60 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 78 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 122 do pass, that House Bill 187 do pass, that House Bill 156 do pass, that House Bill 125 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Stone of the 23rd, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Rules Committee has had in consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 142 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator... that's Tollison of the 20th, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Rules Committee has had in consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Resolution 71 do pass, that Senate Resolution 203 do pass, that Senate Resolution 423 do pass, that House Resolution 107 do pass, that House Bill 517 pursuant to Senate Rule 2-1.1 or .10 be referred by Senate Rules Committee to Senate Regulated Industries Committee from the general calendar. Respectfully submitted, Senator Mullis of the 53rd, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate State and Local Governmental Operations Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation, that House Bill 432 do pass, that House Bill 433 do pass, that House Bill 470 do pass, that House Bill 496 do pass, that House Bill 535 do pass, that House Bill 542 do pass, that House Bill 552 do pass, that House Bill 553 do pass by substitute, that House Bill 556 do pass, that Senate Bill 250 do pass, that Senate Bill 253 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ligon of the 3rd, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Transportation Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that House Resolution 46 do pass by substitute, that House Resolution 411 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Gooch of the 51st, Chairman. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Second readers.
Senate Resolution 71 by Senator Hill of the 32nd and others. Congress urged to enact the fair tax. Senate Resolution 203 by Senator Schaefer of the 48th and others. Dick Petty's Senate Press Conference Room designate. Senate Resolution 331 by Senator Davis of the 22nd and others. Federal, state, and local government agencies urged not to contract with persons, businesses engaged in investment activities in Iran. Senate Resolution 423 by Senator McCune of the 29th and others. Georgia's congressional delegation, Congress, and President Obama request immediately resolve the national debt crisis. Senate Resolution 427 by Senator Murphy of the 27th and others. Brew pubs and alcoholic beverages tastings. Create Senate Study Committee. Senate Resolution 499 by Senator Lucas of the 26th and others. Senate Free Hunting and Fishing Licenses for Veterans Study Committee. Create. Senate Resolution 510 by Senator Hill of the 32nd. Senate Automobile Issue Insurance Verification and Enforcement Study Committee. Create. House Bill 45 by Representative Earhart of the 36th. Public property. Writing off small amounts due to state. Change certain provisions. House Bill 60 by Representative Holt of the 112th. Firearms. Certain laws regarding carrying and possession by retired judges provide exemption. House Bill 78 by Representative Willard of the 51st and others. Crimes and offenses. Protection of disabled adults and elder persons. Change provisions. House Bill 106 by Representative Ralston of the 7th and others. General appropriations. State fiscal year July 1st through 2013 through June 30th, 2014. House Bill 122 by Representative Tanner of the 9th and others. Sexual Offender Registration Review Board. Review and utilize records of Board of Pardons and Parolees in making assessments. Authorize. House Bill 125 by Representative Hightower of the 68th and others. Lawful presence, certain affidavit for persons under 18 years of age to be executed after attaining the age of 18, provide. House Bill 131 by Representative Clark of the 101st and others. Hope, dual credit courses, treated the same as advanced placement and international baccalaureate courses for determining eligibility, provide. House Bill 135 by Representative Welch of the 110th and others. Municipalities, ante-litem notice, the amount of damages sought, provide. House Bill 142 by Representative Ralston of the 7th and others. Georgia Government Transparency and Campaign Finance Commission, change certain provisions. House Bill 156 by Representative Neal of the 2nd and others. Electronic pornography, certain acts amounting to unlawfully seducing or enticing a child through use of computer online service, clarify. House Bill 160 by Representative Jacobs of the 80th and others. Mortgages, vacant and foreclosed real properties registries. Revised provisions. House Bill 161 by Representative Atwood of the 179th and others. Trial juries. Oath of bailiffs. Change provisions. House Bill 175 by Representative Hightower of the 68th and others. Covenants and warranties. Certain covenants run with the land as a matter of public policy of the state. Provide. House Bill 177 by Representative Wilkinson of the 52nd and others. Oconee River Greenway Authority. Change the membership. House Bill 179 by Representative Welch of the 110th and others. Pharmacies. The Pharmacy Audit Bill of Rights. Change certain provisions. House Bill 187 by Representative Dickerson of the 113th and others. Controlled substances. Date of incorporation of local ordinances by reference. Change. House Bill 193 by Representative Stevens of the 164th. Sales and use tax. Tangible personal property to certain nonprofit health centers. Provide exemption only for a limited period of time. House Bill 197 by Representative Powell of the 171st and others. Ad valorem tax. Land subject to a forest land conservation use covenant. Provide taxation. House Bill 199 by Representative Lindsay of the 54th and others. Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, expand Georgia Reservoir Fund. House Bill 207 by Representative Shaw of the 176th and others. Licenses, issuance of special turkey hunting permit for young and mobility impaired hunters, authorized. House Bill 208 by Representative Watson of the 166th and others. Nursing homes, annually offer influenza vaccinations to healthcare workers and other employees, require. House Bill 209 by Representative Watson of the 166th and others. Pharmacists and pharmacies, revised definition of security paper, revised requirements. House Bill 211 by Representative Benton of the 31st and others. Motor fuel excise tax. Public school systems under certain circumstances exempt. House Bill 226 by Representative Nix of the 69th and others. Solid waste management, tire transportation, storage, and disposal, revised certain requirements. House Bill 229 by Representative Teasley of the 37th and others. Insurance, removing the insurer annual publication requirement, provide. House Bill 240 by Representative Carson of the 46th and others. Medicaid and peach care for kids, certain speech-language pathology, require reimbursement. House Bill 246 by Representative Golick of the 40th and others. Georgia World Congress Center Authority, benefit programs to its officers, employees, and other agents, provides. House Bill 276 by Representative Nimmer of the 178th and others. Hazardous site response, appropriations to Department of Natural Resources and Georgia Hazardous Waste Management Authority, change certain procedures. House Bill 289 by Representative Kelly of the 16th and others. Funds transfers, Uniform Commercial Code and federal law, clarify certain provisions. House Bill 296 by Representative Powell of the 32nd and others. Motor vehicles, authorized to receive registration records, add certain persons. House Bill 302 by Representative Broderick of the 4th and others. Controlled substances, substances included under Schedule 1 and 3, add. House Bill 304 by Representative McCall of the 33rd and others. Freeport exemption, applicability to fertilizer production processes, clarify. House Bill 312 by Representative Carson of the 46th and others. Insurance, regulating insurance holding company systems, provide comprehensive revision of provisions. House Bill 318 by Representative Stevens of the 164th and others. Georgia Tourism Development Act, revise certain definitions, provisions. House Bill 323 by Representative Powell of the 32nd and others. Motor vehicles, age for operation of certain commercial motor vehicle operators, modify. House Bill 324 by Representative Dollar of the 45th and others. Georgia Student Finance Commission, Board of Commissioners, Georgia Student Finance Authority, Board of Directors, verification of lawful presence, provide exemptions. House Bill 332 by Representative Williamson of the 115th and others. Georgia Board of Nursing, reconstitute, provisions. House Bill 336 by Representative Powell of the 171st and others. Civil practice, tort claims arising out of use of motor vehicles, provide for certain pre-suit settlement offers. House Bill 337 by Representative Fleming of the 121st and others. Elementary and secondary education, public and private schools to stock supply of auto-injectable epinephrine, authorize. House Bill 354 by Representative Clark of the 101st and others. Early care and learning, Department of, provide certain information to owners of early care and education programs, require. House Bill 359 by Representative Nimmer of the 178th and others. Unclaimed property, Commissioner of Revenue to deposit certain funds in state treasury, require. House Bill 361 by Representative Lindsay of the 54th and others. Labor organizations membership, provide for definitions, provisions. House Bill 365 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st and others. Safety belts, definition of the term passenger vehicle to which the safety belt law applies, modify. House Bill 366 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st and others. Peace officers, disciplining certain certified officers and requirements for certification, clarify application of provisions. House Bill 372 by Representative Coomer of the 14th and others. Hope, grant at technical college or university institutions, revise eligibility. House Bill 375 by Representative Williamson of the 115th and others. Insurance, cancellations under certain circumstances relating to policy terms that permit an audit or rate investigation and non-compliance by insured, provide. House Bill 381 by Representative Hatchett of the 150th and others. Natural Resources, Department creation and operation of a nonprofit corporation, revised provisions. House Bill 384 by Representative Roberts of the 155th and others. Transportation, Department of local governing authority designated public streets or portions thereof for combined use of motorized carts and regular vehicle traffic, modified provisions. House Bill 389 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd and others. Insurance, provide conversion and enhance conversion rights and coverage, sunset requirements. House Bill 393 by Representative Hamilton of the 24th and others. Georgia Workforce Investment Board, provide for powers and duties, provisions. House Bill 399 by Representative Knight of the 130th and others. Ad valorem tax, types of interest in real property may be subject to taxation, clarify. House Bill 400 by Representative Sims of the 169th. Elections, population brackets, and the census for approval of bonded debt, repeal certain provisions. House Bill 402 by Representative Stevens of the 164th and others. Conservation, shore protection, and coastal marshlands protection, revise various provisions. House Bill 407 by Representative Powell of the 32nd and others. Driver's licenses, mandatory use of ignition interlock devices following second conviction for driving under influence of alcohol or drugs, modify and extend provisions. House Bill 434 by Representative Weldon of the 3rd and others. Liens, mechanics and material men, special liens due and interest on such amount, provide. House Bill 437 by Representative Willard of the 51st and others. Atlanta Judicial Circuit, provide for selection of Chief Judge. House Bill 441 by Representative Willard of the 51st and others. Fulton County Superior Court, administrators shall have oversight of budget, provide. House Bill 446 by Representative Peake of the 141st and others. Guardian and ward, proposed ward who resided in another state prior to submission of guardianship or conservatorship, petition for such proposed ward, provide certain additional notice requirements. House Bill 454 by Representative Martin of the 49th and others. Budget report, requires certain items to be included in tax expenditure review. House Bill 458 by Representative Atwood of the 179th and others. Condominiums, maximum allowance casualty insurance deductible imposed by associations, change. House Bill 475 by Representative Pack of the 108th and others. Driver's licenses, commissioner to enter into reciprocal agreements on behalf of Georgia for recognition of licenses issued by foreign territories, authorized. House Bill 46 by Representative Roberts of the 155th and others. Weight of vehicles. Issuance of annual commercial wrecker emergency tow permits, provide qualifications. House Bill 494 by Representative Welch of the 110th and others. Mass transportation, installation of safety markers on utility lines to provide adequate visual warning and use of private airstrips, provide. House Bill 506 by Representative Smyrie of the 135th and others. Chattahoochee Judicial District, provide for selection of Chief Judge. House Bill 511 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th and others. State Employees Health Insurance Plan, pilot program to provide coverage for bariatric surgical procedures for treatment and management of obesity, provide. House Bill 513 by Representative Houston of the 170th and others. Education, Georgia Medical Center Authority, abolish. House Bill 536 by Representative Sims of the 169th and others. County law libraries, receipt and disbursement of funds by counties having a population of 950,000, repeal and reserve code section. House Bill 537 by Representative Sims of the 169th and others. Local boards of education, population provision prohibiting certain members from holding other offices, repeal. House Bill 539 by Representative Sims of the 169th and others. Campus police officers, repeal a portion of definition based upon population classification. House Bill 540 by Representative Sims of the 169th and others. Board of Education, pension board, recompute pension to teachers and employees who retired prior to April 1st, 1955, and who had been awarded a pension for 20 years service in counties of 500,000 population. House Resolution 46 by Representative Holt of the 112th and others. Pierce Levitt Klein Memorial Bridge, Newton County, dedicate. House Resolution 73 by Representative Hugley of the 136th and others. Word, Mr. Lathan Rydell, compensate. House Resolution 107 by Representative Sheldon of the 104th and others. Joint Study Committee on Medicaid Reform, create. House Resolution 411 by Representative Hightower of the 68th and others. Trooper Lieutenant Joseph Joey Keith Boatwright Memorial Bridge, Carroll County, dedicate. House Resolution 603 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th and others. Community Health, Department of, collect and report certain data relating to bariatric surgical procedures, direct. Through with the order, Mr. President. Good night.
It's now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Chair recognizes Senator from 34th. She waves off. Senator from the 31st, recognized.
Mr. President, I move that we excuse the senator from the 37th.
37th, without objection, Senator will be excused. Chair recognizes Senator from the 44th.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 43rd.
43rd, without objection, Senator will be excused. Any other motions to excuse? Chair now recognizes Senator from 34th.
I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 36th.
36, without objection, Senator from 36 will be excused. Any other motions to excuse? Senators, please signify your presence by voting the yea switch. The Secretary will unlock the machine.
604. The lady has moved that House Bill 604 be removed from the local calendar and voted on separately. Is there objection? There is no objection. What purpose, Representative Ramsey, rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to Rule 133 of the State House, I'd like to note in the record that I'm recusing myself from voting on House Bill 528 on the local calendar today.
The gentleman has that right.
It is now time for our morning devotion. Would ask that senators please take your seats and cease conversation at this time as we prepare our chamber for our morning devotion. It is now my distinct honor, and let me have the chamber quieting down. If I can hear you, we got a problem. It's my honor now to call upon the very distinguished senator from the 55th for the purpose of leading us in our pledge and introducing our chaplain of the day. Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Georgia flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation.
Good morning. It is my pleasure today to introduce to you and present to others the Reverend Dr. Stanford J.N. Wicker. I have known Dr. Wicker for at least 15 years. Pastor Stafford Wicker is a gift from God and a gift to his parents, Dan and Mandy Wicker. Early in life, the call of ministry was evident and accepted at the early age of 16. Stafford Wicker was born, baptized, and Holy Ghost filled at the Turner Chapel AME Church in Greensburg, Louisiana. As a Sunday school student and choir member, his Christian learning took on formation. From his parents' home to the football field, he was affectionately called the preacher. Upon completion of high school, he left to matriculate at Wilberforce University in Wilberforce, Ohio. After completing Wilberforce, Stafford received his first pastoral appointment through Bishop Donald Ming. Later, Bishop Ming transferred Stafford and his wife, Constance Wicker, to Georgia under the direction of Bishop Talbot. At the initial meeting with Bishop Talbot, Stafford asked for and received an opportunity to do ministry in Georgia. He was appointed to the Toomsboro Circuit in the Augusta Annual Conference. He served in both Irvington and in Toomsboro. In addition, Bishop Talbot allowed him to serve at the Mount Zion AME Church in Mansfield, Georgia. Stafford entered Turner Theological Seminary in 1988, receiving the Master of Divinity in 1991. He went on to receive the Doctorate of Ministry in 1997 with a dissertation entitled, "How Can the Black Church Respond to the AIDS HIV Epidemic?" Bishop Ming crossed his pathway again in 1992 in Georgia and moved him to the Antioch AME Church. God allowed Stafford Wicker to become a part of a church facility located in Decatur. 3 years later, in 1995, God allowed the Antioch AME Church to be the first church at the time of purchase to master over $1 million acquisition in the 6th district of the AME Church in Georgia. 3 years later, in 1998, a second $1 million acquisition was made, and then in 2007, a third church campus was acquired in Conyers, giving Antioch the distinction of owning and controlling 82 acres of land, making it the only three-site church in the AME Church as we know it today. Stafford proudly declares, "I am happy to clarify what God has done and is doing in Decatur, Stone Mountain, and Conyers, Georgia, in the life of Stafford J. Wicker and the Antioch African American Methodist Episcopal Church. Stafford and Constance are the proud parents of two daughters, Valencia and Lauren Wicker. Please accept this morning Pastor Stafford J. Wicker."
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Butler. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and to all of the senators in Georgia, those present and absent. It is good to be here with you this morning. What if you could receive $86,400 a day given to you free? Wouldn't that be good? Well, there's another gift that's greater than that. And that gift is 86,400 seconds every day that you live. Cannot be replaced. For each day that you receive those seconds, it is a gift from the divine. You and I can change our world each day that we get that gift. By doing so, we can all have value in our society and in our world. I love the little story told about a 10-year-old boy who went around his neighborhood selling pencils to his neighbors. When an interested adult at a house asked the reason for selling the pencils, the boy replied, "I want to raise $6 million to build a new hospital for my city." Amazed at the inquiry, the adult said, "That's a pretty tall order and a big job for a little boy, isn't it?" The little fellow responded and simply said, "I have a friend who's helping me." The world God created is a big world, beautiful world, a place in which we all live each day. The world that humanity has ruined needs to be changed. It is so large and complex that you and I cannot change the world by ourselves. We need help. Matter of fact, we need a helper, each of us. Your help, your help, your help, your help, your help. Each one of us, we need a helper. That's right. God only needs you every day to wake up knowing that you've been gifted 86,400 seconds every day. The question becomes, what will I do with every second of my day? George Bernard Shaw said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man attempts to adopt the world to himself." Are you reasonable or are you unreasonable? Jesus said in Matthew 18:19-20, "I tell you that if two of you on earth agree about any one thing you ask, it will be done for you. For where two or three come together in my name, there I am with you." The question this morning is, in the spirit of the 10-year-old boy selling pencils in his neighborhood, trying to raise $6 million for a hospital in his city and only discovered I have a friend who's helping me, so do each of us. You have a friend helping you. You have a friend helping you. Whatever time you awakened this morning, you had a friend helping you. When you parked your cars and walked up the stairwells, you had a friend helping you. Every decision that you'll make, you have a friend helping you. Every person that you will make a decision over this day and days ahead, you have a friend helping you. The question is, do you remember the friend helping you? If not, always remember, one day at a time, 86,400 seconds daily, you have a friend helping you. God bless you. Let us pray. We thank you today, God, for this day, for its obstacles, its opportunities. We are grateful for your provisions by material blessings that you have afforded us. We thank you for the opportunity to have another 86,400 seconds. It's a great day to be a citizen in the United States of America, and it's a wonderful day to be in Georgia. God, guide us, guide our leaders, guide our country, guide our state. Bless and keep their families and their health. In the name of the divine, amen.
Question being ordered on the remainder of the local calendar. The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the remaining bills on the local calendar will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines.
Would like to present the doctor of the day, and to do so, I call upon the distinguished senator from Columbus.
Thank you, Mr. President. It gives me a great deal of pleasure today to introduce our doctor of the day from Columbus, Georgia. He is Dr. Michael Higgs, board certified by the American Board of Emergency Medicine. He is a full-time emergency room physician and emergency medical services medical director at St. Francis Hospital there in Columbus, Georgia. He's been there for 20 years. He's earned his medical degree from the College of Osteopathic Medicine and Surgery at Des Moines, Iowa, and conducted his emergency medical residency at Fort Hood, Texas. He enjoys kayaking on the major rivers in Georgia. I'm sure he'll be doing the same thing in Columbus pretty soon, like next month. He works with the group Paddle Georgia. Let's welcome Dr. Hayes, Doctor of the Day.
Well, thank you for all you do, and you get so much accomplished up here. It's just a blessing. Just a couple of words. Things are going to start warming up quickly, temperature-wise. The animals, critters are going to start getting out. And if you're like me, you may be playing golf, canoeing, paddling, water skiing. And if you're also like me, you work inside in an air-conditioned environment, and you may not be acclimated to the heat. So do like we do in the Army down there at Fort Benning, the infantry. Take a little salt when you go out on a warm weekend coming up soon. A little beef jerky, some chips, a little salt in the palm of your hand can make all the difference between having a great day outside or being on the side of the boat with stomach cramps, nausea, and you know what. Have a good day. And I'm downstairs if you need anything, prescription or whatever. Bye-bye.
All right, great. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah. When I was playing football at Georgia Southern, they used to do it. That's right.
Just sitting around doesn't matter.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thank you. Congratulations.
And publicly, I would like to tell you and her that Chair recognizes Representative Bentley for a morning order. Representative Bentley.
Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 557 by Senator Melissa, the 53rd. A resolution congratulating the Gordon Lee High School Lady Trojans basketball team on winning the Georgia High School Association Class A Public State Championship and for other purposes. Whereas through perseverance, countless hours of practice, and unyielding determination, the Gordon Lee High School Lady Trojans basketball team earned their first GHSA Class A Public State Championship title by defeating Randolph Clay High School in a 61-55 win. And whereas the Lady Trojans are finishing the season with a 25-7 overall record, a total of 2,114 points scored, and a record of 100 wins and 20 losses for the seniors on the team. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Gordon Lee High School Lady Trojans basketball team on winning the GHSA Class A Public State Championship title and extend their most sincere best wishes for future success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. To speak to the resolution and recognize these great champions, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 53rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, I bring to you state champs from Northwest Georgia. In fact, from Chickamauga, Gordon Lee High School has received 3 state champs this year in Single A, and today we're honoring the girls basketball Single A Gordon Lee High School state champs. Behind me, I have the seniors, Katie Barger, Cassidy Blevins, Sarah Clayton, Taylor Hartline, Kaylee Kimbrell, and coaches with us today are Coach Lester Galen, Lee Bohannon, Pete Porter, and the principal, Clay Crowder. We're very proud of these young ladies who represent us very well. They're not only lovely, they're smart, and they're great athletes. So please help me welcome, and if the team would stand up, the Gordon Lee High School girls basketball state champs, Class A.
Congratulations. Are there any unanimous consents? Any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege?
Chair recognizes Representative Peake for a morning order. Looks like he's joined by
Have a very special guest we'd like to recognize. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 258 by Senator Hill of the 6th. A resolution recognizing and commending Sam Massell and the Buckhead Coalition on the occasion of their 25th anniversary and for other purposes. Whereas he has lived in Atlanta, Georgia all his life and spent 22 years in elective offices, including 4 as mayor and 8 as president of the Atlanta City Council. Whereas under the leadership and direction of Sam Massell, the Buckhead Coalition has served as a supplement to the government, being supportive rather than adversarial. And whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that the outstanding achievements of Sam Massell and the Buckhead Coalition be recognized. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Sam Massell and the Buckhead Coalition on the occasion of their 25th anniversary and recognize their outstanding contributions to the community. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. It is a great honor to welcome Sam here and commend him for all the great works that he has done for really not only his community but also for our state. To speak to the resolution, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 6th.
Good morning. Just wanted to take the opportunity to recognize Mayor Sam Massell and the entire Buckhead Coalition. This is their 25th anniversary, and the amount of things that they have done for not only just the Atlanta community and specifically the Buckhead community, but really for the entire state, but certainly the metro region. I'll give you a number of things. As you know, Mayor Massell was in public service for 22 years, 8 as the president of the city council and 4 as mayor. I'm joined as well by Brad Carver, who's the attorney for the Buckhead Coalition, Garth Peters, who is the coalition director, Jim Caswell, who is a founder, co-founder of the coalition, and a great businessman in the city of Atlanta, and of course Dave Fitzgerald, who is the president and CEO. We're going to be talking about Fulton County today, but without the Buckhead Coalition, that Georgia 400 extension would not have been possible without the work of the Buckhead Coalition and Mayor Massell. I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Massell, but we're just honored to be in their presence and happy to honor them today on their 25th anniversary. Thank you.
I'm not that small, am I? Thank you, Senator and Governor. Obviously, we're extremely honored to be in your presence today to receive this honor and award and recognition for being part of our larger community of which all of you serve. Having served myself 22 years in elected offices, I always take the opportunity around elected people to thank you, because I know the sacrifices you make. I know the time and talent you put forth for minimal pay, to say at best, and I thank you for your service in this regard. I also take this opportunity now just to say a word of appreciation for the ongoing improved relations that we're experiencing between the city of Atlanta's government and the state of Georgia's government. This is as it should be, and I think it's to our mutual benefit, and we thank you for that. So again, we're honored to be with you, and thank you for your good service.
Well done. Always a master. I'll tell you, that's great. Well, let's pose for a picture down here. What do you That's a good looking bridge. Good job. Regular basis, I tell you. What you do?
Very honored to go to that Foxworthy thing. That was a great
Oh,
event.
yeah, that was fun.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 16th on a point of personal privilege. Majority Leader, please give the Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if I could have your attention for just a moment. I think all of you are aware that we had one of our members, Senator from the 27th, lost his mother a couple of days ago, and I'd like for us just to take a moment and reflect upon that, a moment of silence. Pray at your desk. Keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. So if I could just have a moment of silence real quickly, please. Everyone will stand. Thank you. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you doing that, and I think sometimes we need silence. We need silence. We need silence to think clearly. And we're heading into some very hectic days. We need to pay attention to what we're doing. We need to go about our jobs, do our jobs well, and remember why we're here and who we're representing. You know, this is a family. We're a family. We're the Senate. And the Senator from the 27th has been going through some very, very difficult times. Now is the time when we as a family come together and embrace him. We've all got families at home. This is our other family because we're the state Senate of Georgia. This is what we do. The services for Senator Murphy's mother are this weekend. They're on Saturday. And I want to encourage everyone to participate, to attend if you can. I understand we're all busy. Lord knows I'm busy. I need to be home with my family, my new little girl. But Lord knows I've also got a family here. This is what we do. We embrace each other through births, through deaths, through marriages, through life. This is what brings us together. This is why we're the upper chamber. This is how we get things done. We represent the state, the citizens of Georgia. Many of us have been here a long time. We've been to funerals. We've been to weddings. We've been to hospitals, births. I just had a little girl. And just yesterday, the senator from the 44 stopped me and said, "How's that baby doing? How's she doing?" I said the same thing I said. She's not sleeping a wink, and neither am I. But the point is, we come together, we support each other because we're the state Senate. So please lift the senator from the 27th and his family up in your prayers. Be supportive. Try to attend if you can, and show that support and show that love. I know when the senator from the 15th was going through a similar situation with his beloved wife, we had a huge crowd in Columbus, Georgia. He often references that. That's what we do because we're the state Senate. We care about each other. We love each other. We agree to disagree. We get our job done. Get our jobs done. So please keep the senator from the 27th in your prayers, in your thoughts. Please participate where you can and lift him up in this time of need. Thank you all. Let's have a good day. Let's finish the session on a great note. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Chair recognizes Senator from the 39th. Point of personal privilege.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I just wanted to rise to make comment on some optics, that is how things are perceived by the public when they look into the business that we do. And this, I guess, falls under the category, if it wasn't so serious, it would be almost laughable. When I heard that there is a bill being promoted moving forward in the process which will allow guns on campuses, and then I found out at the same time that another bill is moving forward to allow alcohol to be sold within the 200-yard limit. Presently, there's a 200-yard limit buffer between campuses and locations that can sell alcohol. And unfortunately, legislation is moving forward to allow guns on campuses and to allow alcohol to be sold in close proximity to college campuses. I think that optics, when the public looks at us allowing guns on campuses and alcohol to be more readily available to those campuses to young people, they may find that to be ironic and bad optics. I think we need to really consider and think about how we go about doing the things that we do and the impressions that it gives the public. I just don't think we need more guns on campuses at the same time that we're making alcohol more readily available. I just wanted to come to the microphone and say that much about the optics that the public sees us performing. Thank you, Mr. President.
We have another special recognition we would like to make at this time. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 558 by Senators Butler of the 55th and others. A resolution congratulating Dr. Carol Terry on receiving the 2012 Coroner Medical Examiner of the Year Award and for other purposes. Whereas throughout 2012, Dr. Carol Terry, Gwinnett County's coroner, and members of her team have always been available to provide assistance when needed, and due to her dedicated efforts and unyielding commitment, she received the 2012 Coroner Medical Examiner of the Year Award. Whereas in difficult situations, such as a child's death, Dr. Carol Terry always provides detailed reports in a timely manner to the Office of the Child Advocate's Child Fatality Review Division and attends meetings regularly. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate Dr. Carol Terry on receiving the 2012 Coroner Medical Examiner of the Year Award. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. To speak to the resolution and recognize our very special guest, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 55th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. It's that time again to recognize the very best. Dr. Carol Terry is the Gwinnett County coroner, and she's being recognized for her outstanding work, her passionate work that she does for the families of those who have lost children. Every year, the Child Fatality Review Panel present to those that are in the community and doing things that others don't do, doing things that others cannot do. And Dr. Terry is one of those persons. And you heard the resolution read. And with us to celebrate Dr. Terry is the director of the Office of Child Advocate, appointed by Governor Deal, Tanya Boga, and David Miller, who's the vice chair of the Child Fatality Review Panel. And I'd like for David to say a few words. And I get to do this every year because I am a member as well of the Child Fatality Review Panel. And what we do is look at the death of children. Regardless of how it happens, it is not a pleasant thing to do, but someone has to do it. And so we look at those areas where there can be improvement, where we can help families and try to prevent some of these deaths. So at this time, I'd like to have you welcome David Miller as I present to Dr. Carol Terry her resolution. Thank you.
Lieutenant Governor, Senator Butler, thank you for allowing us to take a few minutes of your time on this. Each one of your 159 counties has a local child fatality review committee, and they meet in your counties to review every child death that it's not medically caused and look at the circumstances of that death and see, are there ways that this death could have been prevented? In some of those cases, of course, it's actually maltreatment. And I can tell you as a district attorney, one of the most gut-wrenching things we have to do is deal with prosecuting child deaths. Any autopsy is a somber event, but when you go to an autopsy of a child, folks, that makes you understand why you're in public service, why you're doing what you do to hold people accountable who kill our state's children. At the same time, we never want to accuse somebody of killing a child if we don't have the evidence to prove that case beyond a reasonable doubt to a unanimous verdict. And folks, the medical examiners of this state are key to us being able to discover the truth in the deaths of our children, and we so much appreciate y'all recognizing our Medical Examiner of the Year. Thank you very much.
Senator from the 36th, you have your light on. You wish to point of personal privilege, you are recognized to do so.
How will I know my time? Somebody can let me know. Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I rise to speak with you briefly today about a resolution, Senate Resolution 595 that was filed and submitted this week to talk to you for a moment or two on the question of foreclosures in Georgia. There's not one of us in here that doesn't have a constituent or, in most cases, a multitude of families in our districts that are impacted by foreclosure. Housing foreclosures in our state have topped national rankings for years. And we all know from the bitter experience up close and personal that we've seen in our communities that these foreclosures devastate families, they devastate the neighborhoods where the foreclosure occurs and the community, and it leaves Georgians struggling for years to come, and it impacts, quite frankly, the tax base of our counties and cities. We've had recent declines in foreclosures, but still Georgia ranked 4th for the last 2 years in the nation on our foreclosure rates. That means that 1 in 39 Georgia homes received a foreclosure filing last year. Georgia is still dealing with the wreckage of the housing disaster. But I want to tell you about a federal program and the need for our Department of Community Affairs to get a much more robust engagement so that we can help more of our families back home in our districts with the foreclosure program. It's called Hardest Hit Funds. And $339 million was brought to Georgia 2.5 years ago in 2010 to help prevent foreclosures. We received $126 million to help families faced with losing their homes due to unemployment, and another $212 million in federal funds to assist homeowners that face foreclosure, not just limited to the fact that they lost a job. You can have divorce, you can have illness, a multitude of things can descend upon a household that cause them to be in danger of losing their home. Now, this money represents an important resource. It was earmarked federally, sent to our state, sent to 19 states. I'm sad to report to you that in 2.5 years that we've had these funds over there operating out of the Home Safe program at DCA, that borrower assistance, only 6% of those funds have been used in 2.5 years to help families across our state who need assistance. And if these funds aren't used over the next 4 years, the money will get sent back to Washington, and we'll leave Georgia families sadly underfunded. Now, there are 19 states that qualify based on our rate of foreclosure, 19 states that qualify for the hardest hit funds: Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, North Carolina, all our neighbors, South Carolina, Tennessee. Georgia is dead last in the percentage of the applications that are approved as of the end of 2012, last December. We're 17th out of 19 in the percent of funding that we have spent on homeowner assistance. And we're 14th in the speed with which we process applications, taking almost 5 months to 6.5 months to process applications last year. Now, if you're facing a foreclosure, and we're in a state that you can foreclose with a non-judicial proceedings, how can we tolerate that kind of delay when needy families come to us and seek to access support from this program? We want to urge in this resolution 595. It's listed today on the first readers. We urge the Department of Community Affairs to really roll up their sleeves and get to work and remove the artificial barriers that they've created to dispersing these funds. They can use the same standards that other states are using and not ask people to pass through the eye of a needle in order to get these funds. This resolution urges the department to hitch up its britches and get to work, and all of our districts, all of the communities that we represent will be helped. That money does not need to be sitting over there at that department for Lord knows what reason when needy families are losing homes. So I commend the senator from the 39th who's worked on this assiduously over the years. We have been struggling for more than 10 years to get it right about lending practices in Georgia. Now we have a flood of foreclosures. Let's urge the Department of Community Affairs to get to work doing better than a 16% applicants that are approved for this. Out of 100% of those that have applied, only 16% are approved. Look into it for your community and help promote Home Safe to your constituents who may need foreclosure help. And let's send a message to the Department of Community Affairs that we really urge them to get out of the basement rankings on the states that are moving this money out to needy families. Thank you for your attention.
Have another special group we'd like to recognize. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 455 by Senators Davenport of the 44th and others. A resolution recognizing and commending the Clayton County Black Ministers Fellowship and for other purposes. Whereas the organization has made significant contributions to its community by holding community and political forums, co-sponsoring youth summits, and assisting in the annual Clayton County Prayer Breakfast and Ecumenical Service in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas the organization is under the astute direction of Chairman Reverend William C. Smith, Reverend Frederick Gray, Dr. Walter Burns, Reverend Arthur Powell, Dr. Wimbley Hale Jr., Reverend Isaiah Wadi, and Reverend Fred Shiloh. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body join in recognizing and commending the Clayton County Black Ministers Fellowship for its dedicated, unselfish, and effective service to its community. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Speak to the resolution and recognize our special platform guest. I call upon the distinguished senator from the 44th.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. To my colleagues, I am so honored today to recognize the group, the Clayton County Black Ministers Fellowship, a group that has done much in our community, and I've been a part of that, and so delighted to have them come to the Capitol today and be recognized. This group has assisted with the Clayton County prayer breakfast and also the ecumenical service in honor of Dr. King for over 25 years. They have held community forums, informing the community, co-sponsored youth summits, And just recently, they awarded 3 $1,000 scholarships to deserving students, something they do annually. So we are just so delighted to have them here today. I have joined with me senators from the 34th District and also the senator from the 35th District. And we have with us today Reverend Benjamin Glass. Raise your hand, Reverend Glass. Who is a native of Jonesboro and still lives in Jonesboro and Clayton County, but he pastors at the Clear Springs Baptist Church in Alpharetta. Also, we have Minister Vince Williams, who is an assistant minister at the Higher Living Christian Church in Clayton County and the one in Henry County, and he is also the city councilman for the city of Union City. Reverend Fred Shiloh, who is the chairman of this group, is all over the place. He is everywhere. Reverend Shiloh is the chaplain at the Clayton County Sheriff's Department. He lives in Henry County, and his church is in Griffin, Spalding County, where he is the pastor of the Liberty Springs Baptist Church. And we are so honored to have all of them here today. I'm going to ask the chairman, Reverend Fred Shiloh, if he would come today.
Good morning, and we offer thanks to this body for receiving us here today, and definitely to Senator Davenport and all of you for this resolution. The Clayton County Black Ministers Fellowship believe in trying to better its community, the county of Clayton, and we do that by trying to help young people get a better education. So all of our efforts are centered around trying to help people get elected, or at least have that platform heard by the community, and helping young people go to college. So we thank you again for having us, and definitely thanks for Senator Davenport for all of her help. Thank you.
Senator from the 53rd, we're ready for you. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 344 by Senator Mills of the 53rd, a resolution recognizing and commending Roberto Roy and for other purposes. Whereas Roberto Roy is the Minister for Canal Affairs and President of the Board of Directors of the Panama Canal Authority, and whereas he earned a degree in civil engineering from the Universidad Santa Maria La Antigua, and a degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in industrial management from the Georgia Institute of Technology. Whereas he is president and founder of Ingenieria RM and Affiliates, one of the largest construction groups in Panama. And whereas from 1996 to 1998, Mr. Roy presided over Blue Ribbon Engineering Committee, a panel that, together with the United States Army Corps of Engineers, evaluated the infrastructure of the Panama Canal and recommended improvements to the waterway. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Mr. Roberto Roy on his diligence in the field of engineering, recognize and congratulate him on his many accolades, and extend their best wishes for many years of future success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The resolution is adopted. It's great to welcome a wonderful guest that is we're having the opportunity to work very closely with on the Panama Canal. My honor now to recognize the very distinguished senator from the 53rd, to properly welcome our guests.
Thank you, Mr. President. What a treat we have today. We have the minister for the Panama Canal, the president of the board of directors for the Panama Canal Authority, Roberto Roy, and what a friend he is to Georgia. And I think he believes that Georgia is his second home, as he is a Georgia Tech graduate, a man of many expertise, especially recognizing great food like at the Varsity. And when Representative Roberts and I had the pleasure of going to the Panama Canal with the Southern Legislative Conference, and we have Colleen Cousineau with us today, who is the president of the southern part of the Southern Legislative Conference. But we had a great experience to see the widening of the Panama Canal, to make sure that the ports of Savannah is on task to meet their goal to widen it too, so we can receive those outstanding ships that'll be 3 times the current outstanding ship size. That'll be great for Georgia. But in our visit, we realized of the immense of Roberto Roy's ability and effort with the Panama Canal, and how important that is to Georgia, and for his great desires of returning back to Georgia Tech and seeing some of his old friends there, and to experience great food and cuisine like at the Varsity. And also, we have a present for him. He mentioned that he loved grits and he just couldn't get them at the Panama Canal, so we have some grits for him too. But please make welcome the Minister of the Panama Canal, Roberto Roy.
Morning, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be back in Atlanta, a place that I know well. I lived here for 6 years. I just come to say very few words of encouragement to the Senate on the matter of great importance for the economy of Georgia, and that is the dredging of the Savannah port. It is very important that Savannah goes ahead and that you support Savannah for the dredging of this port, because the change in the commercial components in the matter of ship sizes, it's irreversible. We have seen this for the last 5 years, and right now all the new ships are coming in line, and even it's affecting us at this moment because we have not finished the expansion of the canal. So we are losing some business at this moment until we open the new canal, because the cargo is really moving to the bigger ships. And the reason is very simple. It's a matter of economics, and it's a matter of the cost per container. Now, the most important variable in the cost of carrying sea cargo is fuel. And with the fuel going up to close to $100 a barrel, you can understand that all these bigger ships that have 12,000 containers, 10,000 containers, instead of the ones that we're handling right now of 4,000, the cost per unit of the new ships, it's a lot less. They have more efficient engines, they use less fuel, and they carry a lot more containers. So this is the big business of the future, but those ships require a dredging up to 50 feet. And that is what Savannah needs to do. There is great business for the future, but if you don't do it, let me tell you, those ships are going to go elsewhere. There are other ports in the eastern seaboard of the United States. So if Savannah doesn't go ahead with the dredging, these ships are going to come to the U.S., but they're going to go to another port. So it is very important that you go ahead, really think about this. It is a good investment, and you will not be sorry. It will be a good thing for the economy of Georgia. My pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good message.
Thank you. Real pleasure.
We have a consent calendar of privileged resolutions that are before you. Is there objection? Without objection, the consent calendar is therefore adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Mr. Secretary, are there any objections filed on any of the bills on the local consent calendar?
Mr. President, there are no objections filed in the Secretary's office.
Is there objection to agreeing to the report of committees on the state and local governmental operations which favorably pass the bill? Chair hears none. Report of committees agreed to. Question now is on the local consent calendar. All of those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the local consent calendar, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 0, and all the bills on the local consent calendar are therefore adopted. Moving on to the general bill, the general calendar, the Secretary will read H.R. 205.
House Resolution 205 by Representative Neal of the Second and others. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain state-owned real property and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on State Institutions and Property recommends that this resolution do pass by substitute. The Senate State Institutions and Property offers the following substitute to House Resolution 205. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain state-owned real property located in Appling County and for other purposes. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 17th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This is an annual bill that we do each year as housekeeping for the state properties and its department bill, cleaning up exchanges of properties, easements, and covenants. Mr. President, if there's not any questions, I'll yield the way.
No questions, Senator. Questions on the adoption of the committee substitute? Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection to agree in the report committee which favorable passage of this resolution? All those in favor of the resolution will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the resolution, the yeas are 45 and the nays are 0, and this resolution, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Chair recognizes Senator from the 35th to recognize a very special guest that we have with us today.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are not only the international city of Atlanta, we're the international state. And today we have the ambassador from Ghana, the U.S. ambassador for Ghana. And we were presenting him today with the Honorary Georgia Citizen Award to Ambassador Haganum. And he is right here with us. So it's my honor and privilege to present this to you. And he's with the other delegates from Ghana as well. Thank you. We're going to take a picture. We're going to go over there and take a picture.
Secretary will read House Bill 68.
House Bill 68 by Representative Kidd of the 145th. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 43-34-11 of the OCGA relating to continuing education requirements for physicians, acupuncture, physician's assistants, cancer and glaucoma treatment, respiratory care, and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 52nd to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill revises the continuing education requirements for licensed orthotists and prosthetists. It is at the request of the Georgia Composite Medical Board to require persons seeking renewal of their licenses every 2 years to complete board-approved continuing education. This requirement will be up to 40 hours. It will be set by the board, and this will just simply put us in line with national standards. And if there's not any questions, I'll yield the well.
No questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is the objection granted? Porter Committee which failed pass the bill. Chairs none. Porter Committee is agreed to. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 47, the nays are 0. This bill, I received a constitutional majority. It's therefore passed. Secretary will read House Bill 94.
House Bill 94 by Representative Welch of the 110th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 12 of Title 51 of the OCGA relating to general provisions for damages so as to change provisions relating to the reduction of earnings to present value and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on Judiciary recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from 29 present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my privilege to bring forward House Bill 94. Simply makes a slight cleanup to the law on determining present value for future earnings, gives the trier of fact a little additional discretion on the discount rate to apply. If there are no further questions, I'll be glad to yield the well.
There are no questions. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is the objection agreed? Report of committee which fail pass the bill. Chairs none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chairs none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the pass of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 1. This bill, having received a constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read House Bill 126.
House Bill 126 by Representative Hamilton of the 24th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 10 of Title 16 of the OCGA relating to obstruction of public administration and related offenses, so as to provide a definition and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on Natural Resources and the Environment recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th to present the bill. Please give the distinguished senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I bring before you House Bill 126. This is brought to you by the newly formed Lake Lanier Caucus that was formed this summer. It is endorsed by the Hall County Solicitor's Office. Unfortunately, you may have read in the newspaper about a park ranger that was accosted and beaten on Lake Lanier while he was patrolling in a state park. And unfortunately, according to our laws, the case could not have been prosecuted. It had to be prosecuted on the federal level, which is very cumbersome. All this bill does is bring those law enforcement officers that are park rangers and are functioning as law enforcement the same parity as other law enforcement agents. This bill passed the House 167-2. It also passed the Senate Natural Resources Committee. It's endorsed by the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. And of course, the Lake Lanier Caucus is very much in favor of this. Unfortunately, some of y'all may not have the same crime and problems on the lakes that we do in the urbanized North Georgia area. But this will be good for the whole state of Georgia. And Mr. President, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
There are no questions, Senator.
Thank you. I ask for favorable consideration of House Bill 126.
But you said the Lake Lanier Caucus did approve this, correct? That's important to know. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Granted, report of committee which failed pass the bill. Chairs none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chairs none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Question on the pass the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Right here. Chair recognizes Senator from the 2nd to recognize some special guests we have in the gallery.
I would like to honor the honor students from Southwest Middle School. They're up in our gallery today. They've traveled 250 miles to be with us today. Can you please stand from Southwest Middle School? The honor graduates of Southwest Middle School. Thank you for coming. Glad to have you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Senator. Glad to have you with us today. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 46 and the nays are 2. And this bill, MC Rex constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Secretary will read House Bill 141.
House Bill 141 by Representative Lindsay of the 54th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 5 of Title 16 of the OCGA relating to kidnapping, false imprisonment, and related offenses, so as to require certain businesses and establishments post a model notice so as to enable persons who are the subject of human trafficking to obtain help and services and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on Judiciary and Non-Civil recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. The Judiciary and Non-Civil Committee offers the following substitute to House Bill 141. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 5 of Title 16 of the OCGA relating to kidnapping, false imprisonment, and related offenses and for other purposes. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from 23rd to present the bill. Senator from the 23rd. Does anyone know where the senator from the 23rd is? Anyone else present it? Chair recognizes senator from the 45th present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to stand and present House Bill 141. This bill came through the Judicial Non-Civil Committee. House Bill 141 will mandate the posting of the National Human Trafficking Hotline number in adult entertainment venues, truck stops, hotels, bars, bus stations, airports, places where prostitution has been suspected. Without any publicity, calls from Georgia to this hotline number total 1,221 calls, including 274 crisis calls and tip calls since 2007. The motive behind this bill is to increase those calls and to get more people who are possibly being human trafficked assistance to be able to have help sent to them. The National Human Trafficking Resource Center hotline, operated by the Polaris Project in Washington, D.C., which I have been to that facility. I have been in the call room. I have actually seen these calls come in from all over the United States. It's a free hotline number sponsored by this nonprofit. So the cost to the state of Georgia or to businesses is nothing. This is a 24/7 hotline number. Emergency personnel will be dispersed from Washington so that the state knows who to send out. That would be social workers, counselors, police officers, or whoever needs to be sent out. The one good thing about this is that, unfortunately, when children, young girls, and young boys are prostituted, oftentimes when they go to court, they will not turn on their pimp. But if they voluntarily call into a 1-800 hotline number, their circumstances are changed and they're more apt to change their lifestyle. 12 other states, including Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas, have passed similar legislation. Again, there's no cost to the state of Georgia. This piece of legislation follows in the footsteps of House Bill 200. House Bill 200 that we passed 2 years ago. And if you will recall, in that specific legislation, it targets human trafficking. We've come a long ways, a long ways. Mr. President, I can't hear in here.
There are no questions, Senator.
I just want to finish my sentence. We have come a long ways in the issue of human trafficking from the point that on the Senate floor that we could not talk about 50-year-old men having sex with 12-year-old girls, and we've come a long ways, that we have created a system of care, of taking care of the young children in Georgia who unfortunately are being trafficked. With that, Mr. President, since there's no questions, I yield the well.
let's see, you do have a question, Senator. I'm sorry, it was late arriving. Senator from the 55th has a question. If you would yield for a question.
Yes,
Senator,
ma'am.
will you yield?
Yes.
In the list of establishments that's in this bill, one that says businesses and establishments that offer massage or bodywork services by a person who is not a massage therapist. Can you explain that one to me?
Well, unfortunately, and if you ride down I-16 and I-75, 85, you see these big billboards that say massage parlors that are advertised, Cafe Risque. Unfortunately, these are known centers of prostitution, and that's why massage parlors are specifically targeted, that this 1-800 number, because oftentimes there's young girls and young boys that are working in those massage parlors. This will give them the opportunity to be able to call the 1-800 number and get assistance, and that's why massage parlors are specifically targeted. Now, you may have legitimate spas, and I have answered many questions on this, that oftentimes, they're fabulous facilities, but they will be posted in their facilities just as well.
But will you continue to yield, Senator? Yes. The part that I'm not understanding is that the bodywork services by a person who is not a massage therapist, would that be staff?
That would probably be the owners of the massage facilities, and oftentimes they're actually the perpetrators that are promoting the prostitution within their establishment, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
And one other thing, I do have a long list. I could read this list of people who endorse the 1-800 hotline number, but I will not read that. But just about every advocacy, children's advocacy organizations in the state of Georgia, specifically Street Grace, Youth Spark, A Future Not a Past, and all of the women's organizations in the state of Georgia support this bill. Mr. President, I'll yield for any other questions, or I'll yield the well.
There are no questions, Senator.
Thank you.
Does any other, the question is on the adoption of a committee substitute. Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Granted, Porter Committee which fail pass the bill. Chair is none. Porter Committee has agreed to. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 47 and the nays are 1. This bill, having received Rex Constitution majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read House Bill 317.
House Bill 317 by Representative Cooper of the 43rd and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 34 of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to the Medical Practice Act of the State of Georgia so as to provide for administrative medicine licenses and for other purposes. The Committee of the Senate on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Let's see, who's going to present this bill? Oh, it's the senator from the 11th. Well, my, bring this little freshman up here to talk to us about medicine. Already hearing that there are serious flaws within the bill. Freshman senators recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow senators, I rise today in support of House Bill 317. This bill provides for the issuance of administrative medical licenses for physicians who no longer actively practice medicine. It also allows the board to issue educational certificates to out-of-state physicians who participate in educational training in the state that may require patient care. If there are no questions, Mr. President, I yield the well.
Well, unfortunately, this bill has not been as inspected as many senators think that it should. So one of the very learned attorneys, the senator from the 42nd, would like to give you some good counsel on this bill, and he is recognized this time.
Thank you. Will the senator yield?
I'll yield.
What does the word administrative mean in this context of an administrative license?
Someone who is in charge of paperwork, I would say, is the easiest definition.
Will the senator further yield? Will you yield for a series of questions on this issue?
Yes, sir.
When you say paperwork, is that what is that what doctors do? I mean, why do you need a medical license to do paperwork?
Well, there's specialized paperwork doctors have to do sometimes. We have our own language, as you know, just like attorneys do.
And what type of paperwork is it that gets done that requires a medical license?
We may be reviewing medical charts, peer review, documents of that nature that are medically related.
So medical paper. Well, let me ask one last question.
I'll yield.
Thank you, Senator. If we start giving licenses to just anybody, is that going to change at all the character of the medical profession?
No, sir. I trust the medical board to vet these applications very, very closely.
So essentially, as long as we've got more folks doing paperwork, it won't change the folks that we've got now that are licensed physicians?
No, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 53rd on a couple questions.
Senator Yield.
Yes, sir, I yield.
I have a tough question for you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Now, many times in this chamber, the devil's always in the detail. And I feel evil from this bill. And the reason is, I don't see anything regarding ethics or moral turpitude or the conduct of a physician Can you tell me why you have eliminated that from this piece of legislation that might be important to physicians, but you speak nothing of ethics or moral turpitude in this bill?
Senator, that's a great question. And under Title 43, Section 3426, there's actually the first rule if you apply to be a physician in Georgia is you have to be of good moral character. That is number one. So under the rules and regulations, it will be there.
Could you
Senator,
tell me what moral character is? Could you give me the definition of moral turpitude or moral character? Are you a living example of that?
I try to be every day, sir.
All right. Chair recognizes Senator from the 4th, Appropriations Chairman that has to know the financial impact of this legislation.
Senator Yield.
I yield, sir.
Senator, as I was listening to your explanation of the bill, you mentioned something about a avocation that someone would do when they were not practicing medicine anymore, as if it was after the active practice of medicine. I may not have understood exactly, but it did remind me of a conversation you and I had before, when you were running for office, and I'll pose this in a question that I believe I asked you that what avocation were you in that wouldn't be going nearly as well after you had been in the legislature for a while, and you told me you were OBGYN, and I think I responded, well, that business won't be going away, I suppose. But I was just wondering in this bill if you're preparing for the fact that happens to so many of us who serve in the legislature is whatever we're doing in real life seems to suffer after we've been here a while. So I'm wondering if you're looking ahead to that day when the practice of medicine won't be nearly as profitable because you'll be spending all your time up here.
I'm sure the senator knows of what he speaks.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 18th, the very distinguished Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
I'll yield.
Senator, I've often found that when we're reviewing important legislation like this, we need a refresher course. We need to understand more of the background on the issue. And I know, given your professional background and your interest in this very important issue, that you have done your homework. And I just wonder if you could give us, in your own words, a brief summary of the Georgia Code that is pertinent in your bill. And I'm specifically thinking of the Georgia Code 43-34-29.1. Could you give us a summary of that code?
Well, that code has to do with the licenses of physicians in Georgia in general, and it speaks of what credentials are required, what their licensing requirements are, fees, and so forth.
Will the senator further yield?
I'll yield.
Senator, will you refer to line 12 of your bill? Is not, in fact, section 43-34-29-1 your bill that you're adding to the Georgia Code?
Yes, sir. Of course, the senator's correct.
All right, well, good. I just wanted to see if you knew your own bill. That's always a good sign. Senator, you have a lot of ambiguity in this bill and a lot of interesting words that we uninitiated folks may not be all that clear with. On line 41 of your bill, you say this code section shall have no effect on any person holding an unrestricted license. But isn't, in fact, that what this code section in your bill is trying to have an effect upon?
Well, I think if you would read the rest of the line there, that it talks about the effective date of the code section. So it would only occur when the bill has been signed by the governor and written into law. So,
Senator, if I might ask you to yield for one final question. So it does help to read the whole bill when you're considering the bill. Is that what you're suggesting?
The senator knows of what he speaks.
Thank you, Senator.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 56th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
I'll yield.
Senator, on line 50, you say the board may issue, in its discretion, an educational certificate to a licensed physician from another state or foreign country to participate in educational training in this state that requires patient care. Now, Senator, isn't it true that I've traveled to several continents on mission trips before?
I'm sorry, I didn't
So
hear
isn't
you.
it true that I've got to travel to other continents on mission trips before and met other physicians? Isn't it true some of those physicians were actually called witch doctors?
I'm sure that they would not meet the board rules that are stated in line 52.
You're sure?
I'm confident.
Okay. Well, one final question. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
assure this body with a full degree of certainty that this does not pertain to Agenda 21?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I can assure you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 28th for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does the senator yield?
I'll yield.
Actually, a serious question for a moment, if I may. In lines 42, 43, 44, it appears that the board already has the ability to restrict a license. Is it possible that the board could already do what we're attempting to do in this massive addition to the Georgia Code?
Well, the board has assured me that that line is in there when someone brings to the board's attention that a physician is attempting to practice, but has not been practicing for a number of years, then they can bring a consent order to tell them no, they can't continue to practice because they have not actually been taking care of patients for a length of time. So they don't want any confusion about that issue.
Okay, well, I continue to be confused. Would you yield again for another question,
Yes, sir.
Senator? In the lines 14 through 17, a couple very troubling things for me. Could you explain the difference in a way someone that's not as educated as you are would understand? With the difference between administrative medicine and the practice of medicine?
As I've mentioned before, the administrative physician would be limited to administrative tasks and would not be hands-on with the patient.
Do we need a license to do that?
There are jobs in this state that require a medical license, but are also limited to administrative duties.
I see.
Yes, sir.
And one further question, if I may. Would you yield for one more?
Yes, sir.
At what point in time do doctors quit practicing medicine and start doing it for real? Thank you, Mr. President.
Last question of the day. Recognize the majority leader, the senator from the 16th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, will you yield?
I'll yield.
Senator, could you repeat that?
That I will yield?
No, just the whole thing. I wasn't really paying attention. Could we just start over?
I'm sure there's a videotape available, sir, when you need it.
Senator, it may be a good time now to yield the well.
I will
Good job.
yield the well. If there are no further
All right.
questions, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Senator, very much.
I do ask you for your support of this bill.
Yeah, well, good luck on that. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is the objection agreed? The Port Committee wish to fail pass the bill. Chairs none. Port Committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chairs none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on the passage of the bill. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51 and the nays are 0. This bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Congratulations. Senate will stand at ease until 1:30.